For coming on. So
my pleasure.
This is a massive change, looking not at the CPI, but at the actual cost of living in the country. It's very obvious that the inflation rate is not 7%. It's much higher than that, in that it costs more than 7% to live here than it did last year. Why is this not on the front page of every publication?
Well, because the government, Wall Street, the Federal Reserve has a vested interest in the public not understanding how bad inflation is. In fact, one of the ways the Fed's been able to justify creating more inflation is because they claimed we didn't have enough of it. But the only reason we didn't have enough of it is because they were relying on their own highly rigged CPI. You know, the CPI wasn't always this dishonest. When they compare our inflation rates to the inflation of the 1970s, we're not using the same CPI that we used then. The annualized rate of inflation so far, according to the CPI for 2021, is 7.3%. If you annualize the first 11 months, that's the worst rate since 1982. But if we were using the same CPI as we used in 1982, the rate would be closer to 15%, which means it's the worst year in inflation in U.S. history, because the highest one year was 1980 when it was 13.5%, and this year it's more than that.
So I guess I don't understand why no one's being punished for this crime. I see people destroyed, literally destroyed, for voting for the wrong person or hitting on the wrong person at a party or supporting their brother over text message or whatever. The people who destroyed the U.S. dollar seem to be getting away with it. How is that?
Yeah, well, they just renominated Powell to a second term, as if he did such a great job on his first term. It's a complete disaster. Of course, they might have replaced him with somebody even worse. But this is the only way the government can finance all the spending. You have the Democrats now promising all sorts of stuff for nothing. We're going to get free preschool. Everyone's going to get paid family and medical leave, and no one's going to have to pay for it. Nobody's taxes are going up. We're paying for it through inflation, because the money to pay for all this government is being printed into existence, and then it's spent into circulation. And as it's spent into circulation, it's driving up prices. And when Jim Cramer was talking about all the money we're spending, yeah, the problem is we're not earning it, we're printing it, and then prices are going up. Our productivity is collapsing. We just got the worst productivity numbers in 62 years in this country. Our trade deficits are exploding. The economy is imploding. It is a mess. We just can't see it because we're blinded by all the inflation.
Right. Really quick, how long till the investors have lost faith in the U.S. dollar? That's why they're running to crypto. How long till the rest of the world loses enough faith that the U.S. dollar is no longer the world's reserve currency?
Well, people still have confidence in the dollar and the Federal Reserve. I don't know why they've gotten so many things wrong. You know, I think the people that are running to crypto are unfortunately running in the wrong direction. They're probably jumping from the frying pan into the fire. But eventually, the world is going to leave the U.S. dollar. The dollar is going to collapse. Money is going to flow into other currencies. It's going to flow into real money, gold and silver. It's going to go into real assets, stocks, real estate, mostly outside the United States, because we're going to be the epicenter of a coming currency crisis and sovereign debt crisis that's going to make the financial crisis of 2008 look like a Sunday school picnic.
Yeah, this is bigger than coronavirus or pronouns. This is big. I don't know why it's being ignored. You are not ignoring it, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Peter Schiff.
The actual rate of inflation will be higher. Maybe the first digit will be a 2, not a 1 on an annual basis. But we are talking about some serious inflation. The Fed cannot fight this inflation. The markets have got that wrong. In fact, I don't even think the Fed is going to try to fight it. I think the Fed knows that if it fights inflation, it's going to lose. So it's not even going to fight. Now, it will bluff. It will talk a good game. So it never actually has to get in the ring and get knocked out. So it's going to pretend that it's got these tools and it's going to use them, but it can't use them. If you remember what it took, increase in food stamps, just, the biggest increase in the history of the program, that's already happened. And we have this whole laundry list of spending programs that's, on deck with the Democratic Congress. There is no way to fund this spending by raising taxes on the rich. And since they don't want to officially raise taxes on anybody who's not rich, the only way they're going to tax the people who aren't rich is through inflation. And so the deficits are going to get much bigger. The quantitative easing is going to get much bigger.